being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. This is my show. This is my camera. I run it. Oh!
All right, man. What's good, everybody? Welcome to Outside the Playbook. It's just one of those days, man. One of those days. Audio setup not working. I crashed out. Broke my chair. Tossed my mouse. Knocked over a bunch of stuff on my desk. Yeah, like I said, it's just one of those nights. All right, so we about to get into this first part. First thing we're going to talk about is some comments made by Paul Pierce on the Club Shay Shay podcast. And he was asked about if LeBron was the same age he was, or if he was the same age as LeBron, and they just so happened to be in Boston and LeBron in Miami, how would that turn out? All right, he made some comments. We need to check out what he was talking about.
What if you guys were the same age? What if you came in, because you came in 98, LeBron came in 03. If you guys were like...
If we were the same age, I don't believe he would have had 4 championships. He wouldn't have got...
You'd have kept him for 4?
He wouldn't have got those 2 in Miami. Because I got to believe if we're the same age and I could offset him, and that would have been good enough.
Right.
You know, like if he had got 40 in Game 6 and we the same, I would probably would have got 40 and offset him.
Right.
You know, I was at an older age then, a lot of miles and stuff, and it was hard for me to keep up with him. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be looking at that tape shredder and I'm like damn. I couldn't even move. Like, as a younger, I could have moved with him, but I'm
because you know, in Brooklyn, you say you got it. You gonna D him up in Brooklyn. I don't know what you was on that day.
My mind and body say 2 different things.
Your mind was saying one thing, that body said, nah, I ain't
got him, you know. I thought.
Now, Paul Pierce is one of those dudes where he makes these statements and forget that we have Basketball Reference. He forgets we have footage. He forgets that we have Google. Paul Pierce had 3 years in Boston before LeBron even got to Miami. Before he even got to Miami, he only made out of there with 1. They have 1 championship. The Boston Celtics from 2008 will swear up and down that they are a dynasty. They only got 1. They made 2 finals. Cool. They have 1 championship to show for it. Their run lasted from 2007, 2008, all the way to 2013, 2014, something around there. Yeah, 2013, 2014. No reason for me to believe that Paul Pierce at 26, LeBron at 26, Dwayne Wade at 26. You still got to deal with that problem. You still got to deal with Chris Bosh in his prime. You still got to deal with Mike Miller, Shane Battier. You still got to deal with all that. All those same problems still exist. Him talking about Game 6 in Boston. LeBron had, 45 and 18? I'm sorry. On that night, nobody is matching anything LeBron was doing. Opening tip to 0-0. Nobody was doing anything to stop LeBron. Nobody was doing anything to match LeBron. He was on demon time that night. That's a situation where you just don't, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing that you can offer up to combat that game he was having. Now, Pierce did have some big games. 2008 playoffs versus LeBron. Pretty sure he had, 40, 41? Offset LeBron, cool. That was Cleveland, not Miami. That was Cleveland, not Miami. Because, again, you still got to deal with the other 2. And then you still got to deal with the players that were around them, okay? You're not in a situation to say, if I was the same age, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, because when you were that age, you weren't doing anything in the playoffs. You got 1 conference finals before KG and Ray Allen. You only got 1 championship with KG and Ray Allen before LeBron even got to Miami. It's not happening, all right? Now, the other thing I want to talk about is to start this chair, man. This chair. All right. To start the season, LeBron is going to miss, they said, close to mid-November, maybe even December. All right, but there were some other things that took place that I absolutely would love to discuss, because when you talk about being a hater, and I think Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time as well. I think Michael Jordan is number 1. I got Bron at 2, Kareem at 3. Not going to go through my whole top 10, but just to make things clear, I am not, people say that they are LeBron glazers or Bron sexuals or LeBron worshipers. I'm not one of those, but I'm just not biased, all right? Jordan is the GOAT, but I don't have to hate LeBron at every single turn. Now, this, you are 100% not hiding it all, Stephen A., the hatred you have for this man.
While many speculated LeBron was about to announce his upcoming retirement, the second decision turned out to be nothing more than an ad for a cognac company. LeBron definitely got one over on the fans here, and for the final home game of the season, ticket prices before...
And this is crazy work. This is crazy work by the Lakers, because they could have simply just said, hey, LeBron, are you retiring? Is this an announcement? Kept it under wraps. They took it as an opportunity to spike those prices, know that everybody was going to purchase, knowing that everybody was going to buy up the tickets, right, to sell. They're playing the Utah Jazz. Really? Really? They pulled a fast one on the fans. The fans bit. And quite honestly, I can't completely blame them, because at the end of the day, dollar bills, y'all, right? So I can't blame them. I cannot blame him for this move, but the response to Stephen A.
LeBron announced his second decision were $82. After the announcement, they skyrocketed to $580 on Monday. They're now sitting at $233 for the cheapest seats. S.A., what do you make of LeBron James' second decision?
Well, I think one critic said it best when they said that if you make a bad movie, typically you don't have a sequel.
What?
Now, on record, Stephen A. has said that, quote unquote, the worst thing LeBron's ever done was the decision. And even in that, he donated that prompted them to donate $1 million to the Boys and Girls Club. So the worst thing he'd ever done was a situation where he announced that he was going to Miami in the event that a ton of money was donated to help some kids. That's the worst thing he's done in the entirety of his career. So Stephen A's on record for saying that. Now, between that moment and what transpired maybe a year ago, somewhere around now, right? There's been some rift between him and LeBron, and it's showing. It's showing. Extremely personal.
So if you look at the decision and the manner in which that was handled and the way it served to alienate folks back at that time, you would think that he wouldn't want to remind people of that, considering the heat he took from that. And unfortunately, he was tone deaf, and that's not the decision. That's not the path that he took. This was corny as hell. It was cringy. It was all of that. We know this. You're promoting an alcoholic beverage and
should know your role and shut your mouth.
My boy. The pot calling the kettle black. All right. There's a number of things that you promote on your social media channel, on your YouTube channel. It's business. Nobody talks to you about it. Nobody says anything to you about it. Everybody has known that LeBron has been a very, very, very big, has a very large business portfolio, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that earlier in the year, he had an ad for Amazon Prime. Everybody knew this was not a real retirement announcement. Everybody was well aware of that. So going into this, we knew, all right, it's got to be an ad of some sort. If you're one of those people that 100% believed that this was a legit announcement for retirement, that's your fault.
Trying to give people the impression that this could be your final season, that you might end up retiring. And so, one other person joked, and they said, you know what, that's like Jordan. Compare that to Jordan saying, I'm back. What if he had said, no, you know, I'm teasing you, and then it happened to be a Hanes commercial? You know, what if it had been something like that? And that's what this was the equivalent of. In the end, I don't understand why the second greatest player who ever lived, a 4-time champion, a 4-time league MVP, one of the greatest players who have ever lived, would stoop to trying to garner attention for himself with something other than trying to win a damn championship. I want to be in Southern California come June. Are Lakers gonna win?
All right, I'm gonna let him finish his thought because
Lakers gonna be in the picture. That's what I care about. I don't give a damn about some Hennessy commercial, especially from him. A matter of fact, if you play like garbage at any point in time when it really, really counts, I'm gonna think about the Hennessy commercial and wonder if you was drinking something before the game.
You didn't say that. Tell me you didn't just say that.
Now, the most uncomfortable part about this, okay? He's trying to validate his unreasonable hate for this man now. He's actively saying, I have a reason to feel this way because LeBron, your focus should actually be on winning games. It should actually be on the basketball court, not these ads. Mind you, everybody knows this ad was not filmed the same day that LeBron decided to make that post. These ads are come up with months in advance. These campaigns are filmed months in advance. He already knew about it well in advance. Okay, everybody shoots commercials over the summer. Throughout the course of the season, they get posted. There was a issue with Blake Griffin several years ago, right? Everybody was talking about, you know, Blake was doing all these commercials. Maybe he should be focused on basketball, Then after that, after people actually did their homework, came to the conclusion that actually BG was doing all of his basketball workouts, all of his training and stuff like that, and he was having people wait to film commercials, wait to film, you know, all of these ad campaigns until after his workouts, and some of them will come to the gym, sit there and wait, and then get into the commercial after his workout is completed. A lot of these athletes are not in the gym, mind you, 24/7. I don't know why they're expected to be there 24/7, but it's quite possible that after they finish their workout, training, or whatever the case may be, that they actually have lives, businesses, families, that they do things outside of the game of basketball. This is one of those situations where we forget that all of his time is not going to be spent 24/7 in the basketball gym. Shocker.
I mean, that's what's going to have me thinking about. I want to be in Southern California.
Oh, my God.
I love Oklahoma.
Oh.
I love Oklahoma City Thunder. I love the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yo, I don't want to be in Oklahoma City come June. I tried that, Swagoo. I Swagoo, I don't know if you noticed it. I was trying to get from Minnesota to Oklahoma City. That was tough. I had to come out of my pocket to get that, all right? I want to be in Southern California. I want to be in Southern California. I want the finals in L.A. Can I get that? Because the one time they went to the finals and won it all with him in the Lakers uniform was when they were in the bubble. That wasn't in L.A. That was in a bubble in Orlando. I would like to be in L.A. in June. Can we talk about that, pulling that off? No, we can't because of a damn Hennessy commercial.
He's going to blame the entire season if they don't win a championship on this commercial. He's going to blame all of this on the commercial. I just can't rock.
Announced the King will miss another 3 to 4 weeks with sciatica on his right side. This will be the first time LeBron will miss the opening game of the regular season in his career. Relatable content. Sciatica, me too, LeBron. Welcome to your 40s. Stephen A., how concerning is this injury, though?
I'm not that concerned. I know it's the first time he's going to miss the season opener. I know it's the first time he's ever missed an entire preseason, and I get that. And when we talk about the sciatica nerve, just to educate the audience, you talk about nerves causing lower back, hip, and leg pain, of course, so that's something to be taken seriously. But this is arguably the most well-conditioned athlete, basketball player at the very least, at least one of we've ever seen. I mean, LeBron James has been that dude in terms of his physical conditioning. But I'm not really worried about it for a different reason, MJ, because I don't give a damn about LeBron James in the regular season. I'm talking about postseason. The Los Angeles Lakers in 4 of the last 5 years have been bounced out in the first round or missed the playoffs. They went to the conference finals a few years ago when Darvin Ham was coaching them. That's it. I don't want to travel back to Oklahoma City. I love my man Shea Butter, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and the crew. But I don't want to travel to Oklahoma City. I'd rather be in L.A. That means that the Los Angeles Lakers need to win. And they ain't going to do that without LeBron James. So I don't give a damn if he missed November. I don't care if he missed most of the games before Christmas. I mean, getting enough games to be ready. I love Ant-Man. He's one of my top 2 players. I want to be in L.A. It's my preference. Ain't worried about the hell.
Me to defend LeBron. It's a very uncomfortable position. All right, very uncomfortable. First things first, let's talk about this, okay? Since he's been in LA, these are LeBron's games played by season. 55 is in his first year. 67. This was the championship season. 45, 56, 54. 71, 70, all right? These 3 seasons, over 65, and majority of the time, he's injured, he's hurt, he's not healthy. I think this is a precaution. Think about who his head coach is, J.J. Redick. His biggest thing is exactly what Stephen A. said, preserving his body for the postseason run, right? Yeah, they've been bounced out in the first round. But please, let's not act like it's been his fault. These are LeBron's numbers in those years that he's talking about. 25 points, 9 rebounds, 6.8 assists. 51, 30, 76. Now, I hate this conversation as much as the next person, but we have to say it. The man is 41 years old. And he gets to the playoffs, still putting up 25, 9, 7, 1.5 steals, 1.2 blocks. I can't really say, all right, we get to the playoffs and, LeBron's laying the egg. They get bounced in the first round because LeBron's not healthy. Nah, they just running into teams that's better than them. Running into the Denver Nuggets. You ran into Minnesota. Obviously, the idea was Luka, would be able to offset some of those issues that they were having offensively. Let's go at it, Rudy Gobert. Well, Chris Finch, he had a counter to that. J.J. Redick in his first year didn't have an answer. Those things take place. So I'm not putting all of this at the feet of LeBron, but what I will say is this. In my mind, Luka Doncic is an MVP candidate. Everybody's talking about skinny Luka. Austin Reeves, we'll talk about them, both of those guys later in the episode. But one thing that we have got to focus on, one thing we have got to zero in on is the fact that LeBron James is going to put up 25, 7, and 7 in the playoffs. Be LeBron. The focus should not be, what is LeBron? No, the focus is this is Luka's team. Austin Reeves, the next guy up. We brought in DeAndre Ayton. LeBron is not the issue here. LeBron is not, going to be the focus when we get to the playoffs. Nah, all that's done with. I get it. He's second greatest of all time to a lot of people. Top 3, right? That conversation's over with. Those times where we're saying LeBron is the end-all, be-all for the Lakers to win the championship, those days are over. Those days been over for a minute now. Now we need to focus on who got next. One of the other conversations that I wanted to talk about is we're shifting from just being done with the 80s, done with the 90s. Now people are taking shots at the 2000s. I seen a clip, came across it, didn't want to believe it, but I think the conversation
We done with the 2000s. We done.
I think the conversation is going to start being had about the 2000s, and we got to nip this in the bud right away.
We done with the 2000s. We done with the 2000s. We done with the 2000s. Man, them steroids ain't got no love.
That hairline is kind of going back, a little bit on his head a little bit. But yes, it is. That's why he wears that headband as a young man. He don't want the world to see that just yet.
Look at Lamar Scrotum. Look at Lamar Scrotum sack. He traded in his life for crack. No eyebrows, Lamar Scrotum. Done with the 2000s.
I smell a little crack in you.
5-0 run.
Look at Kevin Drugs. I mean Love, man. What?
He's just batting it.
No defense in the 2000s. No defense. Look at this. No done with the 2000s.
He's just batting it. My goodness. Yeah, just.
We done with the 2000s. What are you doing? Draymond Green off the backboard to himself to somebody else. Come on, man. We done with the 2000s. Who gonna pick Draymond Green over Dennis Rodman? We done with the 2000s. Look at Leroy James. Look at Leroy James. Done with the 2000s.
LeBron with 13 to shoot. Shot clock is 4 ahead of the game. LeBron looks to attack. Here he goes all the way.
We done with the 2000s. Look at Lil Hormone James.
The fact that I made all of those comments about LeBron, and then I clicked on this video, and most of this is LeBron lowlights. Everybody has them in their career. It ain't nothing to be ashamed about. And I know this is what I think it is. LeBron about to get yammed on. It happens to the best of them. This does not take away from anything I said previously about LeBron this season.
He's getting dunked on.
That was so violent. We got to watch it
again. Look at Lil Hormone James getting dunked on. Jordan ain't never got put on the map like that. We done with the 2000s. If LeBron could wear a hat in the game, he would.
So he finishes it, and then he goes right up to him.
All right, but that was all fun and games. But like I said, we got to nip this conversation in the bud. Because when you think about the 2000s and that era, look at some of the players. Look at the players that they just showed. 9 times out of 10, one of these dudes was your favorite player. The first 3 off the bat. So let's talk about Allen Iverson, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Kobe Bryant. Not everybody was like, unless you was a Laker fan, yeah, Shaq was in your top 5, but those 4, and then you could maybe throw Kevin Garnett in there. That was a universal top 5. I'm not talking about top 5 players, in the league. I'm talking about your top 5 favorite players, right? I'm not saying that there weren't flaws in the game in the early 2000s. I'm not saying there wasn't some busters, some tragic Bronsons, some air balls, some missed, layups in the transition and all. I'm not saying that stuff didn't happen, because guess what? It's the game of basketball. But think about everybody saying the dominance of Shaq and Kobe and the Lakers and stuff like that. It was Shaq and Kobe versus the field, in a sense. Who did they have on their team, really? Rick Fox, decent role player, nobody you should be scared of. Robert Horry, the ultimate role player, nobody you should be scared of. Derek Fisher, not scary at all. Devin George, no. Horace Grant, by that time, nobody really feared him. Nobody really feared him in Chicago or Orlando, but he likes to think so. But other than that, Ron Harper was at the end of his career as well. Rush was at the end of his career. Isaiah Ryder was at the end of his career. Glenn Rice was at the end of his career. They didn't really, they had a dude, Medvedenko and all them. There was nobody on that roster to where you say, okay, we got Shaq and Kobe in the playoffs. We don't have a chance to win. There's no reason that team should have went 15-1 the entirety of the playoffs. 15 games won. You lose 1 game in the finals. Like, there's nothing about that roster that says, you know what, they gonna run roughshod over the league for 3 years. Shaq and Kobe was just that good. Albeit Tracy McGrady never made it out of the first round, but he was still putting up 32 a night. He's probably one of the most terrifying scorers of all time. At his best, he's one of the scariest ones. Before we had Kevin Durant, before we had Paul George, we had Tracy McGrady. Allen Iverson, before John Morant, before Russell Westbrook, before Derrick Rose, Allen Iverson was terrifying. Scary. Do not be on that island by yourself. Before Kyrie Irving, we had Allen Iverson. Before we had Anthony Edwards, we had Vince Carter. I mean, Chris Webber, dog. Steve Francis, he was one of them ones. Don't be on that island. She, Ben, KG. This era was stacked. Like I said, Shaq and Kobe. And I think every single person that we've seen so far is in the Hall of Fame. This era was stacked top to bottom. Top to bottom. So look, I know y'all done with the 90s. About time they showed Tim Duncan and the Spurs. We're done with the 90s. All right, cool. We'll deal with that another day. But we're getting closer to the 2000s. And then everybody's going to start talking about the 2010s, the 2020s. Come the 2030s, everybody's going to look at the 20s and be like, man, y'all was trash. Trash. It happens. Every era looks at the previous era and says, you know what? That style of play, that style of basketball, it's not going to work today. Y'all wasn't really like that. Check out the new school. It happens. Every era. Fine. I'm cool with that. Because guess what? The 90s look at the 80s and said that. 80s looked at the 70s. 70s looked at the 60s. The 10s looked at the thousands. Thousands looked at the 90s. It happens. But we're not going to sit there and act like Stephon Marbury. We're not going to act like this wasn't top to bottom. Stars in the league. Teams in the league. The Western Conference had one or 2 years where people don't respect Baron Davis. I gotta get that 1v1 tournament video finished. 1v1 tournament, one of them ones, Stephon Marbury, Baron Davis, Gilbert Arenas, all those guys. You know, vote which one you want to win in a 1v1 tournament. I gotta finish that video. But Western Conference had 1 or 2 years where a 50-win team probably wasn't going to make the playoffs. 50 wins. 37-45 Miami Heat made the playoffs in the East last year. 50-win team in the Western Conference wasn't making the playoffs. That's how deep the league was then. But yeah, before we get to the part where we start talking about, you know, we done with the thousands, we gotta pump the brakes and understand this is one of the greatest eras, if not the greatest eras of basketball. And without social media, right? Catching on TV, read about it in the paper, Sports Illustrated getting sent to the house, ESPN magazine getting sent to the house. One of the greatest eras, if not the greatest era of basketball in NBA history. We have another segment that we absolutely got to have a conversation about. But before we get into that, check out this ad.
It's always with you. The rituals, the thrill, the hope and belief, the racing heart, the sweaty palms. It's what keeps you going. Game after game, block after block. The dream that this time might actually just happen. And if it does, well, you played your part along the way.
All right, so we need to have a conversation about Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the reason we need to talk about Giannis is because I'm a Miami Heat fan. Huge Miami Heat fan. Okay? Every single year, we go through this process as Heat fans. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Allow me to get you up to speed. Every single year, we're supposedly getting a new superstar. This whole toxic fandom began when Shaq came to Miami. Now, in our mind, we're always supposed to be getting superstars competing for championships. Shaq comes to Miami. Shaq leaves. We know, hey, we have a chance to have a huge splash come the 2010 free agency. We get LeBron and Chris Bosh. 2 championships, 4 trips to the NBA Finals, cool. Then after that, we know we're going to struggle a couple years. Big free agency, we land another big fish. Jimmy Butler comes to Miami, 2 trips to the NBA Finals. Should have won 1, didn't. Still had an opportunity to compete though. All right, 3 or 4 trips to the conference finals, balling. He leaves. Now we're saying, okay, let's go get Kevin Durant. Let's go land another superstar. We're not willing to add Jaime Jaquez. We're not willing to add Kel'el Ware to a trade for Kevin Durant, who could we possibly be getting? Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, there was an interview where Giannis was talking about what his next steps was. He was talking with his family, talked to his wife. He said, look, you got a choice. Do you want to go back to Greece or do you want to stay here in Milwaukee? His wife said, I want to go back to Greece. So right now, Giannis Antetokounmpo, his family, instead of staying in Milwaukee, instead of being here with him in Milwaukee, knowing how close he is to his family, this man has had every single sibling signed to the Milwaukee Bucks. Every single sibling he has that plays professional basketball has been signed. His youngest brother just got signed a couple days ago. They're doing everything in their power to keep him and make sure that he's surrounded by his brothers. Fine. But the fact that his wife took their kids to go back to Athens versus staying in Milwaukee, he's trying to get out of there. Trying to get out of there. And he said he had a conversation. You know what? I'm going to let him explain it.
Talking about possibly trading you somewhere and you coming out with a team in the Knicks that you would agree to go to. I'm curious just how you kind of feel about that story and how you address it.
First of all, I haven't read that story. When the season started, I tried to get off social media, tried to focus on my craft and the team. But yeah, I've said this many times, like I want to be in a situation that I can win, and now I'm here. I believe in this team, I believe in my teammates. You know, I'm here to lead this team to wherever we can go. And it's definitely gonna be hard. We're gonna take it day by day, but I'm here. So all the other extra stuff does not matter. I think I've communicated with my teammates, communicated with the people that I respect and love, that the moment that I step in on this court or in this facility, I wear this jersey, the rest does not matter. I'm locked into whatever I have in front of me. Now if in 6-7 months I change my mind, I think that's human too. You're allowed to make any decision you want, but I'm locked in. I'm locked into this team. I'm locked into these guys, to this group, and to my coaching staff, and to myself.
I mean, to that point, you've been pretty clear for many years what your summers are like and how you view things and look where you can win, whether it's here or elsewhere.
It's you know what it is. It's like it's temptation, temptation. Like when you're going through the amusement park or you go through the outside and you're not wearing your wedding ring like me now, and the people are looking at you like, oh, he's kind of handsome. Oh, it's temptation.
He always takes these convos and goes left, but here's my thing, okay? He consistently applies pressure to his team, okay, to the organization. He consistently applies pressure, says, hey, if you're not going to put me in a position to win championships, then I gotta find somewhere else to go. I have to find a way to put myself in a position to go after a championship. Who in their right mind would allow Giannis Antetokounmpo time and time again to experience what he called temptation? You know for a fact that you are not a favorable market. You know for a fact you are in Milwaukee. Places like Milwaukee don't have a chance when you're going against New York, when you're going against Los Angeles, when you're going against Miami. You don't have a shot. Chicago, to a lesser degree, but it's still a major market, right? But the biggest players are always going to be New York, right? In my mind, when I look at the Miami Heat's opportunity to get Giannis, they're going to have to load up the picks, the young players, the younger assets to make a deal. This says Miami were putting together a trade package for Giannis for the Bucks for Giannis. According to a report, Barry Jackson and Miami Herald, the Heat were getting together a package for Antetokounmpo in case the Bucks were willing to make some calls. If Antetokounmpo had asked out, the Heat were prepared to make an offer that did not include Bam Adebayo, according to a source. But it's unlikely any such offer would have been seriously considered. Miami doesn't have the required assets to pull off a trade of such magnitude. The Bucks have also made it clear they will not move him unless he demands out. Okay. Here's the thing about that. Here's the biggest factor in all of this. You're going to have to move him immediately. You have to, because he hasn't really been healthy later on in the seasons the past several years. His value is extremely high, 30, 12, 5 assists, couple, stocks, blocks and steals combined, 2 or 3, right? He's at his absolute best right now. If you want to maximize all of this, maximize the opportunity to get back a big return, you trade him now. You don't wait until the season starts. You don't wait until All-Star break. You don't wait until a situation where Giannis can potentially get hurt or anything like that. All right, he is 30. Trade him now. Maximize the amount you get back. If I'm trading him to New York, I want Karl Anthony Towns. I trade him to Miami, I want Terry Rozier. I can't even say that with a straight face. I don't want Terry Rozier. I want Andrew Wiggins. I want the young PG they just picked up from Illinois. I want Jaime Jaquez. I want either Jovic or Ware. I want some swap picks, maybe 2 first-rounders. I want everything. Miami gets Giannis, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero. Honestly, they're still good enough to compete because they also have Norman Powell. They also have, Davion Mitchell. They still have enough to compete because they're in the Eastern Conference. There's no team in green because Tatum, who knows what's going to happen with him. So there's no team in green to really be concerned about. There's no Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid is playing. Joel Embiid is not playing. He's probably going to only play maybe a quarter of the games this season. Nothing to be really concerned about. PG, who knows what's going to happen, right? Nobody really knows. Indiana, there's no Halliburton. No really concern for Indiana. So there's a ton of teams that you would say, all right, these are the teams we're competing with. There's no competition there. If you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, you are instantly considered to be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. You pair that up with Eric Spoelstra, my pick for Coach of the Year. Pair that up with Bam Adebayo. His woman just won a championship. Pressure is on him to deliver something, at least a second round appearance. Pressure's on Bam to do something this year. He's my pick to win Defensive Player of the Year. Tyler Hero coming back. I don't know how his ankle is feeling, but they said he's going to be ready for the start of the season. I want to see him in Miami. Could it happen? Yeah. Is it gone? Probably not. The best bet to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, trade Bridges. Excuse me. Trade Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, throw in some picks, throw in some pick swaps, and maybe a young asset. Giannis is going to be in New York. That's my thoughts. I think Giannis is going to end up with the New York Knicks by the end of the season, and you just hate to see it, man. You hate to see it. You hate to see it, absolutely, because I can't stand the Knicks. I don't like – Brunson is a good player, but I just don't like his style. I don't like his game at all. But you got to admit, Giannis with Brunson, especially the way Brunson weaves in and out of traffic during the 2-man game. Then you have Giannis and then an opportunity where they can space the floor for him. He can operate. You throw him the ball. He's going to be the number 1 option. But there's no way you're going to be able to stop both of those guys in the playoffs. Both can go get you 30. Easily. Both can go get you 30. If you keep OG or if you keep Miles Bridges, you have another guy that can actually go and get you 20. Then you have Josh Hart. If he stays, if he's not involved in the trade, you have a guy that can do all of the dirty work, rebounding, defense, shot. You got to make some shots if you're Josh Hart to make that situation work. But I think his best bet, if he's going to get out of Milwaukee, the best return for Milwaukee and the best opportunity to win a championship is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. If Giannis goes to New York, automatic #1 seed. Cleveland doesn't have a chance because Cleveland is going to be Cleveland once they get to the playoffs. That's fully expected. When I look at the field, I don't think the Lakers have a shot at getting them because you're not going to give up Luka. You have to give up LeBron. He's not going to go anywhere. You have to give up Austin Reeves and whoever else, Sin Bronny, whatever. The amount of money it's going to cost to acquire Giannis and keep Luka going forward, Lakers don't have that type of money right now. Once the deal goes through for the new owner, we know based on what we've seen from the Dodgers, he's willing to pay through the nose whatever it takes to win a championship. Look at where the Dodgers are right now. So we already know that to be a factor. So watch out for New York, watch out for LA, but I think Miami, they throw the kitchen sink, sees what happens. I'm not saying they got a chance, but, you know, blindly hoping that they are at least throwing their name in the ring. I think this is going to be the year we finally see Giannis get up out of Milwaukee.
Welcome to Outside the Playbook's Top 5. In this edition, we will be listing our top 5 dunkers in the NBA. Number 5.
Exploding to the rim and slamming it down with authority. Head to Jalen Green. This should be fun. Great start for him in this one. Sets the pick for Green. Ends up losing. And slams it down. And then Green steals it away. And the Rockets should be able to ice this thing down. And they will with the dunk. This time with the defensive play. Now by Jalen Green. He did it. Oh, he did it. Oh, he did not. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, that did not just happen. Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Number 4.
Throw it down.
He dunked that like he was really mad at the rim. Hello, Jake LaRavia. Angry. Oh. The way he jumped, he didn't think he was going to get to the rim. He dunked it very easily.
Games have been excellent. He's looked so comfortable here. There he is. Speaking of assists, Kuminga. Go down. James keeps his double-figure scoring streak alive. Kuminga! Oh, wow! There's a stocking stuffer right there.
And you can see it. Once he got to his 1-2, right here, that's going to be a problem. Kuminga.
Warriors do not play until Wednesday when they play Portland at home. Tickets are still available for that.
Kuminga! Right-handed hammer.
Number 3.
Morant against McConnell. Pick and roll. Morant.
Oh, my word. Holy cow.
Look at this. Jackhammer. Look how far back he cocks it. Look at going back to the free throw line and then come back and put it down.
Winner takes a 3-2 lead in his opening round series. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker! At the Grizzlies' den, it is Ja Morant on the full extension. 2022 NBA playoff.
Rebound by Adams, his 6th. Morant blows by Primo. Attack. Not clear the defensive glass. Oh,
Look at this. Partner, take an elbow sandwich as I get to the rim.
Number 2.
Not sure what they were looking at. Left hand grab by Oh, Shake Sharp cocked it back. A vicious right hand hammer. 38-7-18 left. See it again, the stolen outlet, and then dynamite.
Walker finally sees Nas, now to Sharp in the corner.
Let's go.
Ball taken. Oh, my goodness.
Shaden Sharp cocks it back and hammers it down.
Shaden Sharp hammers it down. Blazers trail by 20 here. He goes third on the fourth, a successful three.
Clutch time tonight. We don't know who's going to step up because they're top scorer in clutch time.
This is nasty. Wow. That's over Kessler, who already in his young career is a certified shot blocker. Jeremy Grant on the baseline. Lockford inside. And the coming Shaden Sharp. Get out of the way.
Number 1.
Edwards. Oh, Edwards! A signature slam!
Timeout. 2:12 left. 4-4 game.
They were lucky that wasn't turned over. Anthony Edwards, that time he does finish with the exclamation point.
Filthy. There have been very few in-game dunks that have looked like that.
Put that on a poster.
And only had one shot attempt in that first half. Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back. Immediately looked down at his hand.
That rounds out our list of top 5 dunkers in the NBA. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tune in next week for another edition of Outside the Playbook's Top 5.
One more for the good guys.
All right. Now, the last topic of conversation is NBA opening night, October 21st. NBA on NBC returns, so I can't wait to hear that theme song play once again. You ain't heard it. I haven't heard it since my childhood, so I'm really excited to hear that once again. We got the Rockets versus the Thunder. We have the Golden State Warriors versus the LA Lakers, and there's a couple things we need to discuss, okay? The Houston Rockets playing the OKC Thunder. One of the things that I'm looking for is how does this team play without Fred VanVleet? All right, we always assume that, hey, Fred went down, Russell Westbrook might be the next best option to help out the Houston Rockets. He doesn't go there. He goes to Sacramento. We'll talk about that at a later date, but he goes to Sacramento, and now who's the PG? Who's going to be doing most of the handling? So Reed Shepherd could step into that role. He's going to be handling quite a bit, but I would like to see how they play Sengun. Are they going to play him the same way they play Sabonis and Sac? The same way that they play Nikola Jokic in Denver, play quite a bit of the offense through him and allow him to do what he does. Kevin Durant, he's capable of handling, capable of initiating offense, but I don't want to see him in that role. I want to see him getting buckets. That's it. Let everybody else worry about the dirty work. Let everybody else worry about assists and doing. Kevin Durant needs to focus on getting buckets for this team, because one thing that we've seen with Jalen Green at the helm, and I'm a believer of this, your best player, if he's shooting a good percentage from the field, if he's shooting a high percentage shot time and time again, if he's relatively efficient across the board, like Kevin Durant has been, 50, 40, 90 threat every single season, then the rest of the team is going to shoot better. Jalen Green didn't shoot that high of a percentage. He wasn't a very efficient player. He's going to be a little bit better in Phoenix because now he's forced into that secondary role behind Devin Booker, right? But Kevin Durant shooting that high percentage. Sengun's going to shoot a high percentage. Amin Thompson, this is going to be a breakout year for him. Don't know why they have Dorian Finney-Smith, and I'm a believer that DFS should have been, instead of going after him, they should have went and got a PG to back up Fred. Never happened. Now we have to figure out, all right, what style of player are they going to play? Jabari Smith Jr., he's going to be a very, very important piece. Very important piece coming up this season because Kevin Durant goes to the bench. You still have a capable shooter, a capable scorer, a guy that can also play defense. He's efficient. I want to see him take that next step. Everybody's focused on Amen Thompson. I'm focused on Jabari Smith's progression this season. Clint Capella's, Steven Adams, they're going to back up Sengun. They're solidified in the middle of the paint. They're solidified. They have rim protectors, and they have a guy they can throw into the post, and he can stretch the floor, space things out, and they have everything they need at that position. Then you look at, Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant. You have scoring. You have defense, across the board. So one thing that I'm concerned about is the ball handling. Now, look at all the highlight. Look at Sengun highlighted. Number 2 in points, number 1 in rebounds, number 2 in assists. I want to see him maintain that. He has got to maintain that. He's going to be number 1 in assists this season without Van Vliet. I want to see him maintain that because that'll mean, all right, he's able to put up 20, 10, and let's get him to 5. Kevin Durant's going to put up 27, 8, and 5. Amen Thompson, I want to see him putting up 20 points, 6 and 6, somewhere around there, 28 and 6, something of that magnitude. If they're able to do that, and Reed Shepherd can come in, provide some production at the point guard spot, then you have guys like Eason, Jabari Smith, you have DFS can come in to defend. You have Josh Okogie, you have Steven Adams, and you have Clint Capella. This defense, if they can fortify it, playing under Ime Udoka, coming from Boston. Oh, I said the name. But his style of play, defense first, toughness, grit and grind, and then you add in the scoring capabilities offensively of the 3 players I just named, I think Houston has an opportunity to have a really strong season. Second round exit at best right now. But if they can go in there in OKC, this is an opportunity to steal a game. Every time you face the defending champs on ring night, 2 things are going to happen. Actually, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either you're going to get blown out. Yeah, I know I said it. All right, let it go. All right. It's live, so we can't edit it out. But throw on my train of thought. Shout out to the eye test, man. Test 17. Oh yeah, one of 2 things are gonna happen. See, I got it back. One of 2 things are gonna happen. Either you're gonna get blown out by 20, or you're going to steal the first game and catch them off guard. I think Houston has the opportunity to catch them off guard. They have the athletes to keep up with OKC defensively. They have the guys that can score the basketball efficiently in Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, and Sengun. They know how to play, multiple styles of offense. Fred, he's going to push the pace a little bit more. They're going to get a lot more threes when he's involved in the game. I think he averaged around 8 to 10 per, attempts per game. But the style of play is going to be much more methodical when you're playing through Sengun and KD. I think they have an opportunity to steal one on ring night because look at OKC. This is their depth chart. It's the exact same as last season. They didn't add anybody in the offseason. The only thing was they paid Chet, they paid Jalen Williams, they paid SGA. Jalen Williams definitely benefiting from the ring culture. 100%. The ring bias had that man in the top 15 in the NBA rankings for ESPN. I don't know where he's ranked at for Bleacher Report, but top 15, that's a little much. But yeah, SGA, Dort, Williams, Chet, Hartenstein, off the bench, Caruso, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wick, the same team across the board. So one thing that I look at for OKC is the defensive intensity has still got to be at an all-time high. If they can, because going 16-14, you can't expect that to happen every year. You can't, because that would mean your offense is playing at the same level and your defense is playing at the same level. One of those 2 things has to give, and considering the tenacity at which they defended last year, the tenacity at which they defended in the playoffs, how they went after guys. We seen Nikola Jokic struggle in the playoffs. We seen what that looked like. You had Alex Caruso giving issues to the best player in the league. A guy that was putting up 30, 12, and 10, giving him issues, making him uncomfortable. When you have that type of defensive tenacity and mentality, you're going to be able to have an elite season, compete for championships. So, yes, I think OKC is going to be just fine this year if they can maintain that defensive identity. But I think Houston can still win on night one. But like I said, one of two things. Blown up by 20 or you steal the game. OKC has got to go in there with the mentality they're going to be on an emotional high. We have got to withstand the first punch, especially in OKC. Toughest place in the NBA to play. You survive that first punch on ring night in a city that's never won a championship, you're going to be just fine. Next thing we got to talk about is this. You see the names I got highlighted. There's reasons. We're going to go through all of them. The Lakers played the Golden State Warriors opening night, late game. LeBron is not going to be there. LeBron is not going to be there. So when I look at this team who added a Marcus Smart, who added DeAndre Ayton, who brought back Jackson Hayes, brought back Vanderbilt, right? When I look at this team who didn't really add anything, who's been talking about, hey, maybe one of our young guys is going to step up, Dalton Connect. When I think about Dalton Connect, I think about JJ Redick. If I'm him, I'm sitting down watching every single piece of JJ Redick footage I possibly can. There was a time, people don't even notice, JJ Redick led the NBA in first quarter scoring when he was with the Clippers. I think 2 years in a row, maybe 3. Led the league in first quarter scoring. Under Doc Rivers, in the Clippers uniform, led the league in first quarter scoring because guess what? JJ Redick gets off early. That means Blake Griffin has time and space to operate. That means Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, that pick and roll, the number one lob duo in the NBA for multiple years, they have room to operate. JJ Redick spaced the floor. Then you had Jamal Crawford on the opposite side, able to ISO. If I'm Dalton Connect, I'm watching every piece of footage because guess what? You had the same formula. You have Connect going off in the first quarter. Not really going off, but you know what I mean. Providing that spacing. Luka and DeAndre Ayton, they have room to operate. Austin Reeves, opposite side. He can go one-on-one whenever the opportunity presents itself because last season, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Firm believer that he is not better than Tyler Hero. That's another argument for another day. But still, he can hoop, right? Give him space to operate where he's not guarded by the best player. And when LeBron comes back, he's not even going to be guarded by the second best player. Give him the room to operate. Put Rui Hachimura in the corner. Let him spot up for 3. Let Luka and DeAndre Ayton pick and roll. Luka's going to be himself. The only thing we can't have, if I'm the Lakers fan, is DeAndre Ayton being himself. We can't have DeAndre Ayton being himself. We need 20 points, 10 rebounds, and give me a block or 2. That's what we need from him. Austin Reeves, while LeBron is out, he's going to be averaging around 23, 24, 25. That's a given because the opportunity is going to come. When we're talking about next guys, what are you going to bring me off of the bench? I need a game changer. Vanderbilt's, he been street clothes too. I've seen him in street clothes more than I've seen him in the uniform. So he got to give me something defensively. He's got to come in the game and disrupt everything. I think he's what? 6'9", 6'10", plays the 3, 4, and the 5 when they go small. He has to be the ultimate disruptor. You're going to be going against, in just your division, you're going to be going against Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker. Now you have DeRozan or Zach LaVine in Sacramento. You're going to be going against Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Chris Paul on some occasions where you need to put some length on the ball if he's facilitating too easily. Those are the teams you're going against in just your division. Never mind Dallas, who has Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis. Never mind all of these teams who have bolstered up their front court. Teams like Denver, who has Nikola Jokic, who has Cam Johnson, who has Aaron Gordon. There's a number of teams where you say, I mean, we just talked about Houston. That's an obvious one, right? Vandy can make a difference if he's able to step on the floor and play more than a quarter of the season. If he can do that, I'll get everything I need out of Vandy. Whoa.
Pause. Pause again.
All right, now, when I look at Nolan Smith Jr., wild card, probably not even thinking about him, probably not considering putting him in the game or anything like that. Marcus Smart injury, don't know when he's going to be healthy. Gabe Vincent, I mean, once these players leave Miami, I mean, we don't exactly know what we're going to get out of them because they go to older organizations and they can basically chill. Like they start relaxing a little bit. So we don't know what we're going to get out of Gabe. Gabe made 6 threes. I think he made 6 of his first 7 shots the other night, and then he missed his next 9. That's what you're going to get out of Gabe Vincent on a regular basis. So from game to game, it's like a box of chocolates. You need somebody, and look, everybody's talking about Bronny. He's not there yet. He's not there yet. Just keep getting better. Keep putting the time in. Cool. Nolan Smith Jr. can hoop. Sneaky, but give him some minutes. He's in the same situation as Rob is in Minnesota. Rob Dillingham, right? There's something to his game that you can use, that you can draw from, and he can contribute. He just needs time on the basketball court, meaningful minutes. Like I said, LeBron's not there. Okay, so outside of Reeves, Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, throw the kitchen sink and see what you come up with. Nolan Smith might be a diamond in the rough if you have, and I trust JJ Redick is, a coach that can develop players on the fly and still try to win basketball games. This is what I seen last season. And pay attention to the green highlights, okay? Austin Reeves, 20 points per game. 5.8 assists, 1.1 steals. LeBron's going to be out the first month, basically. I need 25. I need 25, 6, 25, 6, and 4 at the minimum for us to escape November with a winning record. That's what I need. Everybody's going to be talking about, you know, when is LeBron coming back? I need to be having a conversation like, you know what? How much time can I actually buy LeBron because Luka, AR, Ayton, they hooping? How much more time can we buy LeBron? If they're playing well, if they come out of the gates hot, can we push LeBron's comeback off to December, the second week of December? Heck, he's 41. He's dealing with that sciatica, the sciatic nerve. What if we could push that off till Christmas and he makes his debut in December? You give him a whole 2 months to get better. I mean, look, it's not ideal, but if you can contribute to that magnitude, you're playing that well. Luka is being an MVP candidate, 30, pushing that triple-double mark. Then I would honestly think, let's hold off on bringing LeBron back too soon. Come back on Christmas, 100%. Then we're ready to roll, going full speed ahead. The next game we got to talk about, or the next team we got to talk about, is the Golden State Warriors. Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga are the two names highlighted. The reason they're highlighted, and I'll say this again and again and again, Jimmy Butler, at his best, can make any team a contender. Any team. Miami, Philly, Chicago, when he can help make a team a contender. All right, Minnesota, when he was healthy, they were a 3rd seed, goes down with an injury, they're a 9th or 10th seed, he comes back healthy, he gets them to the playoffs. Any team Jimmy's on, they can win, okay? The problem is Jimmy has this idea that I don't need to be a guy that goes out and gets 25 to 30 every single night. I can play the game the right way, trust my teammates, they're going to come through, because guess what? I seen them work so hard. When the cameras is off, when the lights is bright, they can do just the same thing. You're a superstar, my boy. At his best, I'm going to put to you like this. At his best, Jimmy's a top 10 player. There's not even a debate about it. Jimmy Butler's a top 10 player when he decides to be. He's the only player in the league that makes the decision that I don't want to be that. And that's mind-boggling. But look, the trade from Miami to Golden State, you've seen that. They start off 19-2. Jimmy's contributing. Steph goes down in the playoffs with an injury. Jimmy's nowhere to be found. Not because he's playing bad. He just not hooping. He just stopped hooping for whatever reason. I cannot even explain it. Jimmy just stops playing to his potential every single time. It's not even, I mean, death, taxes, and that. Those are guarantees. If Jimmy Butler's putting up, 20 plus, 6-6, they're going to be very successful this season. And guess what? The issue I have with Jimmy in Golden State, it's not necessarily the things I just named, but as soon as he got there, he was doing all of the things that people said, hey, maybe Kuminga next to Draymond Green and Steph Curry can do these things. Steve Kerr said, I don't know how to fit him into the rotation. I don't know what he looks like next to this player, next to that player. I don't really know. He just doesn't fit with our team. He doesn't fit with what we do. The first play, go back and watch it. Jimmy Butler throws it to the top to Draymond Green. He goes to set a screen for Steph. Steph comes off for the shot. Jimmy slips to the basket, gets a dunk. You could have been doing that the whole time with Kuminga in that situation. There's no reason why, because Kuminga, as you just seen in my top 5, is one of the best dunkers in the league. One of the best slashers at his position. One of the best. He's not going in there for layups. He's going to posterize you. You have that threat mixed in with, come on, man. There's no reason why you can't get him into the flow thing. So hopefully, the whole contract dispute, sabotaging him so he couldn't go to another team, possibly holding him hostage so you can't make a run at Giannis. Cool. You have business reasons. Fine. Don't make me think that I'm stupid for believing this kid can hoop. 15, 5, and 2, and you did all you could to hold him back, and he's still putting up decent numbers when he checks into the game. Then you get to the playoffs, you lose Curry, and you still have Kuminga step in like nothing happened and give you 20. You can't make me believe this dude can't hoop. You have Steph, you have Gary Payton Jr., you have Podziemski, you have Hield. Melton's going to be very important. Got injured, but the man can play defense and he's efficient from the three-point line. You have another Curry. So imagine a situation where Steph, Seth, Jimmy, Kuminga, and Draymond are on the floor together. I'm putting Steph Curry on one side with Kuminga. I'm putting Seth on the other side with Jimmy. We're setting screens and we're cutting. Set screens, let them roll off. We cut, Draymond facilitate. If a team goes small against that, good luck. But guess what? Your coach is still Steve Kerr, so it's probably not going to happen that way. This is what I want to pay attention to, and I'm going to say it again, okay? Jonathan Kuminga is going to be the key to the success for this team. The reason I say that is because Jimmy Butler is going to be himself. You have to count on that. You have to count on games where he's going to decide not to be a superstar, a hungry player, a pissed off player, a player that you know for a fact is butting heads with the ownership, butting heads with the coaching staff and the front office, trying to prove I can play ball. I can hoop with the best of them. You put him in that situation, he's going to have a monster year. Now, my sixth man of the year was Lonzo Ball for Cleveland, simply because he's healthy now. Hopefully he can remain healthy. And that team needed somebody that was going to facilitate, play defense, play smart basketball. Offense is not going to stall with Lonzo on the court. He's going to facilitate in position of Garland. Garland can play off the ball, so can Mitchell. And you still have defense in Allen and Mobley. And Lonzo Ball weaponizes all of them. He's my sixth man of the year. But if Kuminga gets the minutes and the opportunity that he should get, granted, Al Horford is going to be there as well. Al Horford is going to be a floor spacer as well. So you can bring both of those guys into the game at the same time. Horford space, Seth space, Moody space, Podziemski, Draymond, however you want to play it. Put that man in a position to be successful. The Golden State Warriors will be a top 4 seed in this season. Now, one thing that I gotta talk about, okay? And I gotta make sure that I find it because it kind of made me upset. And this is on the fly. This is 100% on the fly. Oh, here it is. Now, I came across this video, and it was right after I found out, Russ got signed to the Sacramento Kings. Everybody's been talking about, where he could end up. Houston, that was a major option. Kevin Durant came out and said, look, if we can get Russ, I would be all for that. If there's an opportunity for us to get Russell Westbrook, I would not be mad at it. I wouldn't hinder it. I would actually love it. Come here, play with us. We can run it back like we did in OKC. I'm reading into it, but essentially he said, I'll love the idea. Then you have the conversation about Perkins, right? Or conversation with Perkins on road tripping. And he says, yeah, I told y'all 5 years ago that Russell Westbrook, hey, I heard around the league that Russ is going to end up out of the league. See what happened 5 years ago? You said that 4 or 5 years ago. You look ahead, a dude going into his 18th season, and you're acting like you prophesied this. Bruh, he's at the end of his career. Not everybody's going to be knocking down the door for a 36, 37-year-old point guard at this stage of his career. Not everybody's going to be doing that. That's obvious. You don't even have to. Come on now. Chris Paul was floundering a little bit before the Clippers scooped him up. Okay? So it's not something that you just, was dropping bombs. You had insider information. It's just the nature of the beast. You got older, closer to retirement. You only got 1, maybe 2 years left. Cool. But don't make it seem like Russ was just ran out of the league because Russ couldn't hoop. You was like, yeah, I talked to guys in the league. They said Russ needs to tone it down. Tone what down? Tone what down? Before I play this video, let's talk about that. Okay? Tone it down. All right, man. Now, last season, in 75 games, averaged 13.3 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 45, 32, 66 splits. The man was coming off of the bench, okay, at one point. And if it wasn't for him, Denver Nuggets wouldn't have got back on track. But at one point, the conversation was, you know what? Maybe Russ might be better as a starter for this team to allow Jamal Murray to be himself because they're playing extremely well. Nikola Jokic and Russ, they have great chemistry. They're playing very well, especially across from MPJ and Gordon. That was their best lineup last season. And I'm not being facetious. Statistically, they had one of the best 5-man lineups when Russ was on the court with Nikola Jokic last season. That's not me just making it up. That's facts. So you're looking at a guy who did that off of the bench. And then, let's be clear about this, okay? He's coming off of the bench. He's not expected to be the same old Russell Westbrook. 11, 5, and 4 off the bench for the Clippers. 15, 7, and 4.9. 15, 7, and 6. Off of the bench. He's doing this off the bench. And you're saying he played himself out of the league. How stupid can you look? But let's go back here, okay? Because this makes no sense.
I hate this team. I hate this roster. I hate that Keegan Murray's already injured. I hate the vibes. I hate everything. I think this is going to be a year from hell for the Kings.
This is the single dumbest NBA roster. They have no salary cap space. They have no young studs. They have no under 25 player. You're like, this guy. They have no chance. There's no point for the team. They have one playoff series appearance since 06. They haven't won a playoff series since 04. They haven't made the finals ever. And they just seem to keep popping up whenever weird shit happens. I feel bad for the Kings fans because we got a taste of how cool it was once upon a time. 2 years ago, it feels like 20 with Light the Beam. And then they just decided to reassemble the 2023 Chicago Bulls with Sabonis. And that's where we are now.
This is the Hindenburg of NBA teams this year.
Now, the reason that bothers me is they're correct in one aspect. The Chicago Bulls was a failed experiment. Do your homework, do your research. The reason it was a failed experiment is because they didn't have a point guard. They didn't have a point guard. Yes, L, not really a PG. Kobe, not really a PG. Zach LaVine, always injured. Rarely on the basketball court, right? Sabonis is going to put up 20 and 14. DeRozan's going to put up 20. LaVine's going to put up 20, shoot a decent percentage from the field. Russell Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder got added to this roster, both of whom, when they are able to play their game, everybody's talking about, turnovers. Well, guess what? The number one person all time in turnovers, people consider him to be the greatest of all time. That's LeBron. Nobody talks about it. Everybody talks about, hey, the shooting percentage. He shoots a higher percentage than Allen Iverson. Everybody loves Allen Iverson, right? But you crucify Russ, and he shoots a higher percentage from the field for his career than Allen Iverson. Everybody talks about, Russ, he takes too many shots. Well, guess what? Russ is 560 points away from passing Oscar Robertson as the number one scoring point guard in NBA history. Guess what? There's two players with 25, 8K, 8K. 25,000 points, at least 8,000 rebounds, 8,000 assists. Take a wild guess as to who those two players is. It's not Steph Curry. I'll tell you that. It's LeBron and Russell Westbrook. Put some respect on this legend's name. That's number one. Number two, you put him next to DeRozan. You put him next to LaVine. Put him next to Sabonis. They're going to be just fine. You want to know why? Look at OKC. Kevin Durant's highest scoring average for his career in a season. Who was he playing with? Paul George, highest scoring average for a season. Who was he playing with? Bradley Beal, highest scoring average for a season. Who was he playing with? And I say all that to say this. There's players that go to an organization, okay? They contribute on the basketball court. They play well. They get the job done. You get to the playoffs, fine. Then there's other players who has the ability to change the culture of an organization. Let's talk about OKC after Kevin Durant left. Everybody thought, we're going to flounder. We got to sort this out. Let's rebuild, start from scratch. Russ puts on one of the most dominating performances in NBA history. Triple-double, point guard position. Never been done, right? Never been done. Respectfully, Oscar Robertson, but I'm talking about in the last 30 years, hadn't been done, right? Then you say, okay, let's add another player. Let's add Paul George. Is he going to be able to play the number two guy? Is he going to struggle playing next to PG? Is he going to be selfish? He says, no. I'm going to still get, 22 points a game, but I'm going to make sure you have the best season of your career and you be the number one scoring option. Paul George is in an MVP conversation. Russ averages 22, 11, and 11. Then you say, okay, let's trade Westbrook. We know we're going to rebuild. Let's send him to Houston. He goes to Houston. And it gets to the point where, first of all, Russ averages about 27, 7, and 7, shoots his highest percentage in his career, 47% from the field. One of the best years of his career nobody ever talks about. And on top of that, it gets to the point where you say, you know what? James Harden isn't exactly the professional superstar player that we want representing the organization. Russ, you're the consummate professional. You show up every single night, night in and night out, playing your heart out. That's the type of player we want leading our organization. Do you want to say he said, no, I'm out? Okay, fine. You know what? Let's send him anywhere. Don't care where. Send him anywhere. We're going to start this thing over. We're getting rid of James Harden anyways as well. You send him to Washington thinking his career is going to die. He goes to Washington. They get there in the workouts, and they're going up and down the basketball court. Bradley Beal said it never happened in his career. Nobody's ever treated him or acknowledged him like a superstar. They went up and down the court. Beal didn't touch the ball. Russell Westbrook shut the whole practice down. Said, y'all better not go up and down the basketball court without feeding your best player a 30-point per game scorer without giving him the rock, or a guy that's capable of that without giving him the rock. Beal had his best career season that year, his best year, and they went to the playoffs. They limped into the playoffs, or they limped throughout the course of the season. Russ got right. They go, what, 17-6, 17-5. Down the stretch of the year, they get to the playoffs. Nobody had Washington doing that well. Russ averaging, once again, a triple-double. You go to L.A. Everybody's throwing all of these, slanderous things at him, saying he's a vampire in the locker room. Russ never comes out, never says a word to defend himself. Fine. But LeBron was injured most of the time. Anthony Davis was injured most of the time. Russ was consistently there. And if you look back at this season, because LeBron and AD don't really qualify for stats that year, Russ led in points, rebounds, and assists. And then came off the bench. Guess what? Let's trade Russ. All right, Russ is the problem. Let's trade Russ. They still haven't won anything. Now, Russ goes to the Clippers. Everybody gets injured there. Who's going to step in? Who's going to play, out of their mind to even give us a chance? You're in the playoffs versus the Phoenix Suns. Russell Westbrook guarded Kevin Durant. He guarded Devin Booker. He guarded Chris Paul. He guarded everybody. Put on dominating performance. Gave his all. Everybody loved him for that, right? Played well in L.A. Then Russ is looking for a new home. Joker, best player in the league, says, let's get that guy. I just showed you what Russ did for that team. So to think that Russ has nothing to offer an NBA team, to think that a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players we've ever seen in the history of the game, and I stand on that 10 toes down. Russell Westbrook is one of the greatest players of all time, and he gets treated like garbage for whatever reason. He's never been a locker room problem. He's actually gotten a lot of people paid, and a lot of people have had career years being his teammate. He's transformed organizations, or at least giving them a glimpse of what it could look like with a superstar like him at the helm. And they still treat him like he's not a legend. It's crazy to think. But I'm glad Russ got an opportunity to go to Sacramento. I'm glad he's an opportunity to showcase that he can still bring something to the game of basketball. He's gonna bring a lot of excitement back to Sacramento. I think it's going to go crazy the first time he lights the beam. But I think they're going to benefit by being on the team with Russ and Dennis Schroeder. He's going to provide a lot of stuff for them off the bench, starting, whatever the case may be. Both of those guys running your point guard spot for this team. Sacramento could be in the playoffs. I'm a firm believer they can end up in the playoffs. But that's all I got for this episode. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. Appreciating everybody that's watching. That's one more for the good guys.